Our one and only show of the week. I've been doing other stuff, so I've been really, really busy. You'll find out why probably here a little bit shortly, but I got a lot of stuff in the pipeline. But I wanted to do a show because I love you guys so much. We are brought to you by Black Swan Tactical. You can find Black Swan Tactical at blackswantactical.com. Joe, how are you doing? Check this out. The new patches are in. Let me see, put that up there. Until the end of the show, they're $5 via Super Chat or the website. After the show, they're going to go up to $7. As you can tell, I'm wearing I don't know if you can tell, but a Uncle Sam's Misguided Children shirt, which you can get 10% off by going to Uncle Sam's MisguidedChildren.com using the code Crumpy. Yep, that's it. Or you can go to Black Swan Tactical and use the code Crumpy as well. This hat right here is from Black Swan Tactical. Now, I am going to bring on a guy here. Recently, Republican Party Committee. Awesome, Joe. That's awesome. Congratulations. Joe is a freaking phenomenal guy, and I'm so glad that you got elected to the committee. You should do some good out there. I have my full faith in you. I just want to remind everyone I have a Patreon, patreon.com/John Crump, super chats, or you can just PayPal me, paypal.me/John CC. And here's the thing. Everything I make, even for my book sales, which you can get at crumpy.com/giants, goes to my niece Bella, who has the IPG. I don't want to get into too much, but we got some horrible news, and she's going to really need everyone's prayers and money, to tell you the truth. Yeah. But let's not get too depressed. Let's go ahead and bring in the guest. Our guest today is a fisherman, which is kind of funny to have a fisherman on, and we'll find out why in a second. But let me introduce him. His name is Captain Tim Peterson. From Captain Peterson's, the YouTube channel.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah.
Hey, let me. I just want to see that shirt. I'm going to bring you up. Total. There it is, Captain Peterson's.
Hold on. Wait.
Oh, with the American flag, Ballistic Ink. That is awesome.
Ballistic Ink makes them. People wear these shirts and they're like, "Dude, this is the most softest shirt ever." And my wife stole it from me, and I sleep in it. So, go to Ballistic Ink. You can pick up some of these, and this is the YouTube channel.
Oh, that is awesome. Fishing. You know what's really funny about that?
What's that?
I have you on the show, and if we ever meet, I'm never going to go fishing with you.
You're never going to go fishing with me.
Might be a bad idea.
Yeah, I mean, I don't start fishing until 10 miles out, so that's not for everybody.
Well, no. I mean, I'll sit there on a boat. That's no problem.
But you're trying to get your fish.
I have a fish allergy.
Oh, well, yeah. We talked about this last time, I think.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. Well, that's too bad. I mean, we get you on like one of them bubble suits, like the round bubble things, like the boy in the bubble.
Yeah, thank you, Joe, so much for the $25. Yeah, we can. Yeah, just so I don't touch it. Every once in a while, I'll have like a mix-up, especially with Chinese food.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I always.
I mean, they use like a lot of shellfish and whatnot. Maybe we can get you like a mop suit from the military and get you a big gloves and the gas mask and everything.
Yeah, my wife hates those suits. She used to have to walk.
She's in the military?
Yeah, she used to have to walk around Osan Air Base with these big mop suits.
Dude, I was at Osan for a year, and that son of a gun was hot in the summertime. We had multiple people. So they used to load bombs and missiles on F-15s and F-16s, and then the 20-millimeter Gatling guns and rockets and all this kind of stuff. And we'd have to do that in full mop suits in 95-degree heat. We'd have people just totally fall out, need IV bags and all kind of stuff.
Well, that's what she's a doctor, and that's what she would tell me. She was like, yeah, they're like, people used to pass out all the time.
Well, the crazy thing is the new J-list suits are way better. We got a car driving. I don't know if you can hear me. I'm trying to make this live scenery for you guys. So yeah, we had the old suits that were like had thick charcoal and you had to wear them over your BDUs, and those were really bad. When I was in Korea in 2001, 2002 at Osan Air Force Base, 36 Fighter Squadron, flying fiends. Sorry, I was in a bunch of units. I'm trying to remember which one that was. We got the JLIS suits. We were the first unit in the entire United States military to get the JLIS suits because of the whole threat from North Korea and their chemical weapons. So we were the first ones to do it. They were way better, I promise.
Yeah. What years were you in Osan?
Right before 9/11, like 9/4, I left Osan. So I was on leave in Minneapolis, which is in my speech, and we'll probably talk about that a little bit later. And I watched the first one hit the Twin Towers. So I just woke up. I was watching, NBC or something, and I seen the second one hit. And within 2 hours, my flight chief called me and said, "Peterson, get your butt down here. You're going to Afghanistan." And I was like, "Well, okay." So I hopped in my Toyota Tacoma and started driving from Minneapolis to Nellis. And I got there and they changed their mind and they took a different unit. But I mean, who knows what would have happened if I would have went? I mean, some of the guys that went initially, especially in the Air Force as weapons troops, some of them took fire because they were out in, airfields that were, just kind of in the middle of nowhere. And, you never know how the quarter is going to get flipped and what side you're going to get.
Yeah, I have a friend that was in the elite unit that used to go out and set up airfields and stuff like that. They're known as the weathermen.
Yeah, he had a gray beret probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People don't realize that, like, what do you do? I do weather stuff, and you think it's
No,
like,
they jump. I mean,
I know they
special
do.
forces. Like, it's ridiculous.
I know,
And they're
but
super smart too. They go through a lot of training, like for the meteorology
yeah,
stuff. Say that 3 times fast.
yeah, but whenever you talk to them, he's like, whenever someone asks, "What did you do?" I just did weather stuff. It's
Yeah,
like,
I mean, a lot of people kind of downplay what they did in the military because you start getting a lot of different questions. And sometimes it's not always fun to talk about some of the stuff you've done.
yeah, I mean, but they're actually combat troops. I mean, they'll jump, go out there with like berets and green berets, whoever SEALs.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's like one of the most humble guys.
Well, most of the guys that have done the most, butt kicking stuff. I swear a lot. I just muted myself. They essentially are usually probably the ones that say the least about the things that they've done. And it's troubling, especially when people that that have served have people come at them and say that they have stolen valor. Because anybody that's been a veteran can talk to any other veteran within 5-10 minutes know if they're full of crap or not. And
Yeah.
that's a friend of mine recently had somebody try to call him out on that. It was complete hogwash, and I don't know.
Yeah.
There's nothing much worse you could say about somebody other than them, touching little kids or rape or something. I mean, it is what it is. People want attention, and fortunately, in today's political world, especially, people will say whatever they can or do to get cheap likes, if you will.
Was your friend a YouTuber?
Yep.
All right, I know who you're talking about. I know the whole situation, and he definitely does not have stolen valor.
No, he doesn't. I mean, I
He's
spent
legit.
all weekend with him. I've known him for over a year. I mean, he's been at bases I've been at. I don't know if you want to put people's business on the streets. It's just kind of a generality, and but it's terrible. But what are you gonna do? And at the end of the day, core values lead the way. I was a recruiter in the Army too for a long time for the National Guard in Minnesota, and the same neighborhood, coincidentally, where George Floyd was murdered. And one of the guys that I enlisted, I think he was my last enlistment, or maybe my second to last enlistment, back in like 2013. And I enlisted 120 soldiers or something, and probably had my hands on enlisting 1,000, because I had people that worked for me in my office and stuff. And this guy, he's now a cop, and he was telling me how tough it was to be a cop now. And I told him, you know, as a recruiter of somebody and a drill sergeant and their first line leader, you kind of have like this unique relationship with them. And I told him, I said, look, dude, like at the end of the day, it's about core values. And unfortunately, the core values of police departments haven't been probably where they should be. Um, and it's been that way a long time, unfortunately, when it comes to, race and stuff. And now people are just starting to see it on camera, and it takes good officers like yourself that have good core values to hold these other officers accountable for their actions. And until that happens, we're going to have this trouble. And I said, him and some other guys that I've brought down for these veteran fishing trips I do, some of them, I've had guys in my truck crying to me saying they had a gun in their mouth, but since coming down on the fishing trips and being connected with other veterans, they're back at home and working in, some of them in law enforcement, firefighter capacity, these kind of things. And, people are struggling with this, man. And it's tough to see good police officers, have to deal with that. But like with great power comes great respect. And, we're just going to have to, there's this big thing in this country today where people talk about like, oh, in the news, they say America's a racist country or whatever. And, America is not a racist country. We still have a problem with racism, unfortunately, and I don't think that's ever going to go away in the history of the world. But it's just, since Selma, things have gotten a hell of a lot better. And, even since I was a kid, things have gotten a lot better. But to pretend like it ain't there ain't right either. So we got to kind of just chip away, and it's a marathon and work. And, in regards to this, free Americans of all colors and creeds, destroyed the Nazis and liberated the racist concentration camps. Like, we've done a lot of good things in this country together, especially in the military. And if anybody can get our country back on track with that, it's us veterans, because, people look up to us, whether we're in or out. We have a special thing. That's why I do these veterans trips. And, we got a big thing coming up here, Veteran Shark Week, with Iraq Veteran 8888. Sailor Jerry's coming down. We got 20 veterans from Reunite the Fight and Hero Hunt Inc. coming down to go fishing. It's a whole week of shark fishing. We're going to shoot a shark in the face. Brownells is sponsoring us for that. So the Salt Life, hook fishing, tuna skins, invincible boats, resort vacation. Property in St. George Island is giving a huge house on the Gulf of Mexico. It's going to be a great time. And I've already posted some things. I've gotten there's a special permit you need to shoot sharks in the face, or to shoot sharks in federal waters past 9 miles. And there's only a handful of guys that have it. I got the permit and I posted it online with my BRN 180, and and I put over it like shark hunting permit. And PETA people heads exploded, and I know that once we put a video of us doing it, it's probably going to break the internet. But people are going to hate on me, but I don't care, because for thousands of years, hunters and fishermen have went out and caught and killed big game and animals and brought it back to their community and shared it with others, and have been revered. But only in the last 50 years or so, people want to make it to be like this thing that we're sadists or something. I don't get it. But there's a lot of things in this country that are good. There's a lot of things that are challenging, and we're continually living by our core values, so that people don't, they can't just keep talking crap, essentially.
Yeah, you know what? I think that PETA is one of the most hypocritical organizations on the face of the planet.
Yeah.
I mean, not even close. There's no organization that's as hypocritical as PETA.
I mean, I think what happens with all of these large organizations, like in our world, like the NRA and civil rights, like Black Lives Matter and these kind of organizations, is like, it's like this good nugget of something good that people want to stand up for and be a part of. And like buttheads get in charge of it and turn it into this big thing that, it really wasn't what it meant to be. And it's kind of like, and I'm not saying this about all people that are religious, but certain people, especially in the news, there's been all these Catholic priests doing things to boys and things like people take advantage of good things and they use it for own personal gain, and it's frustrating and it's terrible, and it goes back to the whole core values deal. Like, every organization, whether it's a couple guys or a team or a country, like, we are all judged by those core values, and we're either part of the team based on them or we're not.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see that. And I think that's one of the good things that the military does. It instills these core values in people. Um, it's interesting. I mean, there's some bad apples in the military, but it seems
100%.
like, but I think it seems like there are a lot less bad apples in the military than in police departments, for example. And I think a lot of it has to go to actually, hey, I'm willing to go over there, fight, and maybe die for you guys back here. And I think that pride is something that you can't readily get in any other organization. I'm not military, my wife is, but I see the pride in her and her core values in her. And I think a lot of it comes from the military.
As a recruiter, people always talk about like people join the military because they want to be like you. And when I was a young recruiter, I thought, I had a nice car and I was in shape, not as better shape I am now, of course. And I had a house and things, and I grew up in the inner city, and a lot of people that I grew up with didn't have those things when I did. So I figured, I had my degree and had a car with fancy wheels and all this stuff. And like, I thought that's what it was about. But the older you get, the more you realize that people want to be led. And I don't mean like a puppy or nothing, like more like in our society, people don't have like this big thing they have to do to pass on to adulthood, manhood, or womanhood, or whatever. Like the Spartans did, and bad example maybe, but like the Hitler Youth did. You know what I mean? Like their societies had a thing where you grow up and you become what you're gonna be. And like the Koreans, they have mandatory service obligations, and it doesn't always mean the military. They can be firefighters or law enforcement. Um, maybe we could have something that's more like that. People in the Peace Corps, people. There's like this USA Jobs Corps. It'd be something to do so that even people that are wealthy could do something for even a year, so they could give back to their community. Before they start getting their trust fund or something. I don't know. Like, there's no challenge for people to go through to prove themselves. So you have these people that sit in their basement, eat Cheetos, and play video games, and they just kind of like stuck in this like level of development, and they kind of get past it till they're 28 or something. I guess I don't understand it personally, but that's like a thing.
I mean, I understand what you're saying. I do. I'm not sure if I'm on the same page with you as like the mandatory service. I think that everything should be volunteer, but I'm very libertarian.
Yeah.
So that's probably why. But I can see what you're saying. It does help people build, and there are countries that have like mandatory service. Maybe if it was like you said, expanded to like firefighting, like Peace Corps type stuff. Mandatory military service is something that I'm extremely.
No, I wasn't advocating for military.
Yeah. I know you weren't, but
not
I'm just
everybody
saying.
should be in the military for sure. Uh, Even a lot of people that think they want to be in the military should be in the military. I got stories for days about that. But yeah, man, there's different ways to give back to your community without, especially when you're young, you're still trying to figure yourself out. Because the big part, you talk about the core values of the military, like me and a bunch of vets were together this weekend, and we were talking about like what that did for us, and how our relationship with people of different socioeconomic backgrounds and race, and then us traveling abroad and serving with other countries' soldiers and sailors and airmen and marines, like you get a world perspective. And unfortunately, it seems like more and more in this country, people don't travel outside of the country, and if they do, it's like to like the hotel in Jamaica or Cancun, and they don't. Like, people are kind of just stuck in this way, and this is the best country in the face of the earth that's ever existed. Don't
Oh
get me
yeah.
wrong, but like, there's some stuff we could probably learn from some of these folks, and I feel like a large part of the country is never going to even try to look into that. You feel me? Like, it's troubling.
Yeah, I definitely do feel you. I definitely do feel you. And I traveled. I traveled for work. I lived in Manila for a while in
Sweet,
Southeast
man.
Asia,
Love it.
and yeah, well, unless you travel, and my wife is a European, so we go to Europe a lot.
Yeah.
Sicily, Palermo, if you want to know the exact spot. But it does give you a sense of what it means to be an American and how lucky that we are,
Right, dude. Every
especially in
time
the
you come back, like, you get off the plane and you like go, you're like, man, this place is nice as hell. Like,
yeah. You there?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
mean, it's just, you go and you see how little people live with, and you come back to your house and you're like, I didn't think my house was that nice, but now you have like a whole new appreciation for how nice your house is. You know what I mean? It keeps you grounded. And I feel like if I don't travel at least overseas every 3 to 4 years, I start getting sucked into the buy American dream. Don't get me wrong, I got nice stuff, but like, there's a balance there that I feel like I'm always trying to figure out.
Yeah, one of the things that I found when I lived in Southeast Asia was our poor and therefore two totally different
Right.
things.
Yeah, therefore on the ground begging, like puppies beg, you know. I mean, kids selling gum, and that half the time they probably got some mafia dudes making them sell 8 pieces of gum a night, or they don't get a Twinkie, or I don't know what, some
Well,
story that's probably worse than we think it is.
in Sicily, what they do is not so much the Italians, but the Eastern Europeans that go there. They'll actually blind their kids because it gets them more sympathy.
What I could see in Thailand, it was like that, man. Like, you would get like people that looked like their legs didn't work, and they're just like, they'd always be there. I mean, I was there for 3 weeks. I don't think I've not seen them there, and out on the street. But it's different though. Like, people that beg in areas like that, people give money because they know they don't got nothing. And I gave them money. Like, I don't give people around here money because I feel like they probably, you feel me? Like, they got something they could do, but there, you just know they don't.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely do feel you. I mean, it's crazy. Um, and when you try to explain to someone what poverty looks like in some of these third world countries, and they've never been to a third world country,
Yeah.
that tells you how great America is, where it's impossible to grasp the level of poverty that these people live in.
It's not actually. 80%, I agree with you. Uh, Free Americans of the First Nations had their land stolen with treaties that continue to be dishonored today. And I have friends that grew up on reservations in northern Minnesota, and you would be appalled at the living conditions at some of these reservations. Um, some of the reservations are even in the Twin Cities. They've got a little place called Little Earth, and I mean, not as bad as Manila, but like
No, it's
80%
close.
as
It's
bad.
close. Trust me.
You know,
Trust me. I know.
I
It's close.
mean, like the cops don't come. Women. I mean, human trafficking. The biggest human trafficking port in the world is Duluth, Minnesota. A lot of people probably don't know that, and they're bringing in Asian and Russian, Uzbekistani women, I guess.
Yeah, I read
They're
a book
taking
about
out
that.
Native American. Yeah, they're taking out Native American women and bringing them back over that way. Like, it's bad, man. I mean, that's like, it's bad up there.
Yeah, I read a book about it, and I can't remember what it was called, but it was the human trafficking slave trade, basically between the U.S. and Canadian border.
Yeah, my buddy's a Boundary Waters fishing guide, Tom Larson from Bassword Trail Guide Service. has been fishing up there for 25 years. I just went up there and did some videos with him, but he's been up there, and it's like 30 miles of woods. You got to get a special day permit to go in there. It's federally controlled. It's only like 1,000 permits a year or something, some number. But he's seen guys, on John boats with suits on and briefcases and all kind of weird stuff. He goes out there and does like 7-day wilderness camping trips for bear hunts, and you hear motors running around there at night. Like, why would people? And there's like 5-foot rocks in the lake, so you drive around at night there, you're gonna hit a rock. Like there's nobody that has any brain drives a boat around there at night, but there is. What they're doing, who knows?
Yeah, I mean it's really sad. People think that slavery is something in the past, but it's not.
It looks different. No. And in Thailand, when I was there, I was hanging out with some people, some ladies, and every time you get on a bus or a train or whatever, they would stop you and they check my passport. There's a lot of Russian and Aussie and New Zealanders there, and I think they thought I was Russian or something. I mean, I can't tell you how many times in Thailand I walked around and people were like, "Are you from New Zealand? You see that? Does that look like a New Zealand flag to you guys?" I don't know. I mean, I'm not a scientist, but
yeah. In the Philippines, I was asked if I was Australian a lot.
Well, it's like they're Mexico. They go down there for vacation a lot.
Yeah, like are you from Australia? Like, nope.
No.
And then when
you
they
speak
found
really
out
good English. Where are you? Well, you speak really good English. Where are you from? And I'm like, American. Then you're like the token American, and they want to like follow you around, take a picture.
Yeah, they actually do want to take a picture with you. That's the craziest thing. Like, oh, can we take a picture? It's like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, now I used to tell them, oh, I'm from Minneapolis. They'd be like, where is that? I guarantee they know where Minneapolis is now.
Yeah. Well, I'm from DC, so I'm like, I'm from DC. Right outside DC, but I said DC, so like everyone like knew where that was. Like, oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't really run into anything. In the Philippines, what I found was that there was more pro-American people in the Philippines than in America.
Yeah, the Philippines is an interesting story. It's weird that they speak Spanish. You know what I mean? Like,
they don't.
Came in there. Well, like they have a lot of Spanish last names and stuff.
They have Spanish last names, but they don't actually speak Spanish.
Not anymore. But like my aunt, she's my cousin, but I call her my aunt. She's older than me. She lives in Hawaii, and she's from California, but she moved to Hawaii and married a man from the Philippines, but he has Spanish last names. That confused the crap out of me as a kid, but I figured it out.
Yeah. They have a lot of Spanish last names, and they speak. It's really interesting because almost everyone there is bilingual. They have their own language, which is Tagalog, and they have but English is spoken everywhere. Like all the TV shows are in English. They don't do and all the signs are in English. So basically, you speak your dialect at home, and you speak English everywhere else.
And
go ahead. And it's interesting. You go to a ATM machine, and you have the two languages, and then you have Taglish, which is like Spanglish, I guess. But you can actually go to an ATM machine and choose Taglish.
So when I was in Korea, there was all these like dancing clubs, and there was 80% of the women were Filipino women, and they didn't really do anything for me. But a friend of mine, let's just call him Airman. I don't want to say his name. I don't even know if I call him a friend of mine. A guy that was in my unit ended up going to this club and knocking one up and tried to run. It was a crazy story, but they were like indentured servitude. Like, you talk to the girls and they'd say that they, had some thing they had or work off and they had 20% interest or something. And, these guys would go down there and spend all their money on what they made all week. I just didn't understand it. Like, I was like, it just wasn't my thing, but it's definitely a thing. And, the crime world and in many parts of the world, including this one, are printing money doing it, and they're doing it out in the open.
Yeah,
I mean, you don't have to look far.
Any basically Asian massage parlor, basically, yeah, it's slave labor.
Yeah, well, indentured servitude and slave labor, is more than just sexual work. Like,
Yeah.
there's a big conglomerate of people doing shrimp in Vietnam, in Thailand, and India, and they have third country nationals from like Nepal peeling their shrimp, um, to like their hands bleed. And China has this big, they take garlic and have these, slave labor guys that are in these prison work camps peel garlic by hand. So you're not
Well,
supposed to eat shrimp that's not from the U.S. and you're not supposed to get garlic that's hand peeled for those two reasons. If the
well,
documentaries I watch are real, I don't know.
well. If you look at the Uyghurs out in China, they're put into slave labor. The Muslim population in
Yeah,
China, they're put
yeah,
into slave labor. In fact, Disney filmed right outside a one of their concentration camps and thanked the concentration camp in the movie Mulan.
really.
That's
Yeah,
insane.
when I was in Thailand, I stayed at this. I was in the Muslim district. And it was like it got late, and I just wanted to get a hotel room. So I got a hotel room, and they wouldn't rent a room to me because I was with a woman, and they could tell I wasn't married to her. I went to like 15 different hotels before they would like give me a room. Maybe it's because I had a giant flag on my arm and I had a sleeveless shirt. Maybe that's part of it. But I don't think they liked me walking around with a woman that was Persian. um, but anyway, the guy that was working there he was Rohingya from Nepal, and he had fled there, and he was telling me about it. And I was like, man, this goes back to the whole like, if Americans traveled more, we would appreciate how dang good we got it. But on the other end of that, like, I've served with guys from Sweden and Norway and Danish guys and Croatian guys and Aussies and all kind of NATO forces. And you live with these guys close and you eat their food and you tell stories and you learn about them and you learn about how they do things and how like their women get 3 months off when they have a baby. And you're like, man, that'd be sweet if you're a father or a mother. You'd be like, that'd be like in the lottery, like they get,
Yeah.
there's things about that we could probably listen and figure something out. I don't know what it
Yeah.
is. I'm not that smart, but it just feels right. You know what I'm saying? Like, and
Yeah, one of the interesting things was when I was in the Philippines, I would go into a store and they come up, oh, you Australian? I'm like, no, I'm American. Oh, you're American. Hold on. They go run and get their daughter. Trying to introduce your daughter. I'm like, no. What are you doing?
yeah, that's definitely a thing. What
Yeah.
was cool, like I used to mountain bike a lot when I was in Korea. And, we would go like 40, 50. I mean, this is back when I was 20 and didn't have bad knees and stuff. And we'd go 60 miles on a day and be out in the middle of the rice paddies and we'd break our bikes, would break, and we'd have to ask for a tool or something once in a while or something. All the people in the countryside were super awesome. The Korean people really appreciate us being there. And, it's cool to come back to the US and see that Korean culture and food is now like hip, because when I got back, like it wasn't. And I was like, man, you guys know what you're missing out on. And now it's like this new like food kitschy thing, So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, one of the things that I found interesting was when I went when I lived in Southeast Asia. When I went there, I hated spicy food. I cannot stand spicy food. Now my wife thinks that my taste buds are dead.
Yeah,
Cause when I go to like a Thai
whatever.
restaurant, I was like, I need Thai hot. Cause like regular hot just doesn't do it for me. And like I have like the extra hot sauce.
Dude, I'm there with
That's
you. I
the one
went to
I'm
a
gonna.
Thai restaurant in Cape Coral when I was visiting my son the other day. I wanted it, and I always tell them hot, Thai hot, and they're like, "No, we don't normally do that." And I'm like, I show them my Muay Thai tattoo. I'm like, I've been to Thailand. Here's my street cred. Give me Thai hot. These dude, they almost blew out my butt. I mean, but I ate it. I mean, I've never not ate it. but I ain't gonna say I didn't pay.
Yeah. But I love Thai food. Thai food and Indian food are my two favorite. So let's
Just
get
had
into
chicken chili for lunch, man.
Yeah, so let's get into a little bit of stuff here. My article has not dropped yet. It's going to drop anytime now, I hope. Um, but it's 6:45. It's going to drop at 6:45. There you go. 6:45. My article is going to drop on what's going on with the honey badger in Q, where the ATF has decided that the honey badger is a SBR. So I'm going to go over a couple of different things that people said about it that wasn't true. Actually, I'm going to go. Let me go over the things that are true, and then we can get into some of the stuff. All right. So the ATF did send a cease and desist to Q LLC, saying you cannot. You can. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to eat hot food. What about I'll host hot one style stream if you're with you. Okay, yeah, we can do that. Definitely. Okay. Okay, so Joe Drag is saying that's what he's writing a letter about. So you might want to hear what I have to say. All right. So ATF sends letter to Q LLC saying you can't produce this. It's a short barreled rifle. Everyone's freaking out. Are they going to ban, braces? Too Long didn't really know they're not going to ban braces. It's not going to be a bump stock 2 ban. In this case, 9 months ago, the Department of Justice told the ATF industry side, because people don't realize there's an industry side and then there's the law enforcement side. So there's one that has the IOIs and deals with compliance and stuff like that. They're not law enforcement. And then there's the law enforcement ATF. They're both under the same ATF and they're both under the Department of Justice, but they're different. So they get 9 months ago, they get a demand from the Justice Department that says, hey, you cannot touch braces. We're working with the industry to determine standards and stuff like that going forward. You can't touch them. So the head of the ATF, Regina Lombardo, she's not a Trump appointee. She's actually a Democrat. Surprise, surprise. And she doesn't hold the Second Amendment as sacred as you or I. So she's the head. And the second guy, Marvin Richardson, hates bump stocks. And I'll tell you how I found all this out. So instead of using the compliance side, they used the criminal side and sent a cease and desist letter threatening jail time and everything else, saying, hey, you're selling an SBR. So how is that brace making an SBR if I can go buy all the stuff and put the same brace on, same lure, same everything, right? They're trying to say, and this is not, I don't think Human knows this, whether they know it now, because I emailed them. They're trying to say it's because the way that Q advertised the honey badger and the advertisement and the marketing of it is what makes it an SBR.
So with that said, the advertising and marketing of every freaking nudie club is a prostitution place. Like, come on, really?
Okay. We're gonna get a little bit deeper in there now, right? So the NSSF, for everyone out there, that they're in contact with the White House, Congress, and everyone else saying, hey, what's the deal with it? Well, we need clarification on this. But ATF is reassuring them, no, we're not going to ban braces. It was because of marketing. Well, they didn't say it's because of marketing, but that's the reason. Inside information, my ATF sources. It's the marketing. So Regina Lombardo is a bureaucrat. Trump never got his appointee in there, so she's been the acting director. So she's not a Trump appointee. She's like an Obama holdover. So she doesn't like Trump. Several of my independent sources from within, yes, Q did shoulder it in advertisements. Several people from within the ATF who work directly with the highest people in the ATF told me that this is purely political, which a lot of people already assume, but it is. It's like an unspoken truth that the heads of the ATF don't like Trump, and they are trying to disparage him before the election to push for Biden.
I mean, it's clear and simple. Like from what I understand about the situation, like the local field agent sent that letter out, and they don't even normally send that letter out.
No, but the reason why they sent it out from that side is because,
Well, right. I mean, let's just think critically about this. We're gonna have a minion send the letter, and then when it all comes out that it was a political hit job, we'll just fire the minion, and it was the minion's fault, and then nobody else of any real power gets in trouble. The minion gets a different job with a different organization and promotion. Nobody hears about the minion ever again.
yeah.
It's a win-win-win for everybody on their people that hate guns, right?
Well, Marvin Richardson hates pistol braces. He thinks that they are a stock. He said that in meetings. It's a stock, and that's been confirmed by multiple people that he said it's a stock. I think it's a stock. He actually said something like, "Those effing, that's an effing stock." Blah blah blah. So Marvin Richardson and a lot of the heads on the ATF don't think they have political capital to ban braces right now with Trump in office, because there's millions. There's like 4 million braces out there.
Yeah.
So they don't think they have the political capital.
So they wait until now to see if they can use it as leverage.
Well, no. Well, they're trying to disparage Trump with voters, because if Biden comes in, they think they have the political capital and cover to actually go after braces. So that's the whole thing.
I mean, like bump stocks, there was only like 40 or 50,000 or something sold. Like braces, there's like 4 million or something. Like
the 4 million.
I mean, at best they'd have to be like, and even there's people saying the ban on bump stocks, this executive order, is an overreach to begin with. Like, how are you gonna retroactively ban? I mean, maybe they ban future sales, but 4 million people aren't gonna give up their braces. There ain't no way.
Well, that's what they're hoping. If Biden wins, that they're going to be able to do that. They've instructed their agents, the headquarters, the highest level people in the ATF have instructed their agents not to answer questions on the legality of bump stocks. Not only from people like me in the media, but they told their field agents and their IOIs, which is their compliance people, not to answer questions from businesses selling braces. So if you're selling braces, you're like, "Hey, I'm selling ARs with braces on them. Am I selling an like SBR or not?" Their answer is, "We cannot tell you."
Well,
you might be.
It's frustrating. The government, like in my world, in the fishing world, they have all these regulations, and they have this pamphlet they give you. You get offshore and you fish, and there's no internet, and it'll say, "Look at our website for current regulations." You're like, "What? What kind of like?" That's the problem. Like the people that started this country knew that once you put somebody in charge of something, up to and including police officer on the street, people get like this superiority complex and think everything they do doesn't stink. And in the military, you definitely run into a lot of that. And in the government, everything has to be black and white. And if you have a regulation, I mean, I served in the military for 15 years and worked for the state and federal government. in the Guard also. Like, regulations are everything. If it's in black and white, like I'm also a certified U.S. Coast Guard captain. All the regulations are documented. Like, you can't read between the lines. Like, there's no such thing. That's why it's documented. Government doesn't have the same amount of grace period to fry people. And it's kind of like this kid in Kenosha, like, they charged him because there probably would have been more riots if they didn't or something, but
Yeah,
he's going to
that's
get off.
political.
Like, he's getting off. I mean, free Americans of all colors and creeds deserve to feel safe in their community. And, what ensures that?
Well,
Arm free Americans. And they're going to keep trying to take the way we arm ourselves away. There's if they have a problem with the braces, they need to write their regulations better. That's BS.
Well, it's not. They're what they're trying to do is they're gonna probably if Biden gets elected, they're gonna do it, and then they're gonna have to be sued. And like in the bump stock case, they're gonna claim like a Chevron difference, which means the regulation is not clear, so we can, we can determine what it is because it's not clear.
Well,
which in the bump stock doesn't work.
Yeah, here's what I see happening. I don't know if it'll happen in 5 years or 10 years or whatever. It's kind of like this whole marijuana thing. Like, for a long time, they were throwing everybody in jail for marijuana, growing a plant, whatever. But like, the tides have changed, and marijuana will probably be legal in most of the United States. I feel the same way about constitutional carry here. It's getting ridiculous, especially after all these riots. People that aren't used to buying guns are buying guns. Like, people realize, you hear these people from North Korea coming over, Venezuela, and all these dictatorships saying how, like, there's this Rob Pincus, the leader of the 2A rally, put this video from YouTube with this North Korean escapee out, and she talks about how important the Second Amendment is to her and how cool it is. Like, I really highly recommend watching the video. I can't remember the name of her channel, but I'm sure if you put it North Korean, she's got a TED Talk out there. I went down the rabbit hole this morning. I'm not scared to admit it.
Yeah, I saw that when Rob put it out there. For those that don't know, Captain Tim will be speaking at the virtual 2A rally, and so will I on October 24th.
Yeah.
I know a little bit about your speech. Last time you were on, you talked a little bit about what it's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's very simple. Free Americans of all colors and creeds deserve to feel safe in every community. And what ensures that? Armed free Americans. For far too long, racism has been tearing this country apart. The first blockbuster Hollywood movie was The Birth of a Nation, and it glorified the white knights and the KKK saving the nation's white women from actors wearing blackface. And Nixon started the same racist, used the same racist fears to start the war on drugs. Saying Mexican, Black, and Asian thugs were getting white women addicted to eat weed and opium. Like, for far too long, like, even in the firearms community, Philando Castillo, a free American, he was a inner city mentor and a concealed carry permit holder. Wow, and he was killed by the police a few miles away. And a few weeks earlier, I was pulled over for the exact same offense. Not only was I not ticketed, but I was asked by the officer what I was carrying joyfully. Like, if that's not white privilege, I don't know how people can make a stronger case. Like, people want to know what all this kneeling is about, and like, why can't people just see that kneeling? People kneel for liberty. It's not about the flag, it's not about the anthem, it's about living up to the Constitution. And those are some hints about what my speech is about. And hopefully people feel what I feel. I guess you probably should know this. My mom was Black, and I protested injustice in Minneapolis and lived in the same neighborhood where George Floyd was murdered for 33 years of my life. Owned a business, coached football, went to football. I was a teacher, all in that same neighborhood. And I even recruited for the Army in that neighborhood, so I know it well.
Well, here's a question for you. Do you know, besides white, I am also part minority? What minority group? I know that sounds kind of weird to say.
You?
Yeah.
Pirates? Is that one?
Yes, it is. Pirates. No, my grandmother was Cherokee. My mom's half
Sweet.
Cherokee.
So you're from like the southeast?
Yeah. So
Yeah, I
so
mean
my mom's half Cherokee, and we're quarter.
interesting story is we were told that my mother was part Native American for my whole childhood, and we always knew it was wrong because she had an afro. I mean, she was light-skinned black woman, but she had an afro, and she could dance and she could sing, and everybody knew it was a lie, but that's what we're always told. And she grew up in the 50s and was surrounded by people on a bus saying, "Get that N off the bus, we're going to lynch her," and all this kind of crap. And like, Selma was a long time ago, and the 50s was a long time ago, thank God. Like, racism, America's not a racist country like it was. It's still a
Yeah.
problem. We got to work on it. But, like, there's some things in my speech that if you're a patriot, a true patriot, you believe in the Constitution, and especially if you're a military veteran, this mother is going to get you in the fields. And Eric from Iraq Veteran 88 heard it this weekend. I did a test run at his house when we were filming, in his lair, I guess I'd call it.
Oh, you were down there with Kevin Dixie?
No, that was a couple days before I was there.
Okay.
Kevin and I tried to link up, but we had filming scheduled. Mike from Mr. Guns and Gear, Black Diamond Guns and Gear were down there, and we were doing a little bit of filming. But yeah, like he said, Tim, if that don't get people fired up, I don't know what will. So that's what Eric had to say about my speech.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I like Eric. Yeah, there is definitely, I don't know, a disconnect with kids today and like reality when it comes to history.
100%.
I talked to Stephen Lofton, I had on my show, and he's like in his like 70s, like a black guy in the 70s, and he's an author. He writes tons of books, and we're talking about, I don't know, what type of stuff in history and stuff like that. And he said, "What really pisses me off is these kids these days." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "I had one of them tell me that the United States right now is more racist than it's ever been in history." And Stephen Lofton was a guy who was like back in the 50s, was like doing the whole Selma marches and stuff.
Yeah.
And he was
I'll
like, "What the hell?"
tell you this, man. Like, I watched that movie Selma when I started preparing for the speech. I started preparing for the speech 3 months ago, right after George Floyd was murdered. I called Rob. I met Rob last year at the first ever 2A rally. I called him. I said, "Dude, that's my neighborhood. I'm almost black. You need to put me on." He was like, "I got you." And I used to have a tech company in Silicon Valley, and my speech coach, Nathan Gold, the democoach.com, I called him up and said, "Coach, I need you." He was like, "Well, what do you mean? Like, you're not doing pitches for companies?" I'm like, "No, this is more important." And this guy, he's a little Jewish guy from San Francisco, like stereotypical littlest Jewish guy from San Francisco. I told him, and I was kind of like apprehensive about telling him it was a 2A rally at first, just because he's from San Francisco, and that's kind of. He was like, "Not only am I going to coach you, but I'm going to do it for free."
No, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, he's like, "I got this guy, I got this guy, and I got this guy." I'm like, "Yeah," like, so like, that's a big thing that got me in last year's 2A rally. Hearing guys, when Eric was talking, I was like, "Wolverines," and then guys like Katie were up there, Argo J, and Simon. I always forget his handle. Simon. Like, they got me in the feels, man. And what was cool about that rally, and I wish we could do it this year. We got together, and afterwards we were drinking and partying a little bit, had a couple beers, and the next morning we had a breakfast. And at that breakfast, man, it was like that was one of the most intellectually stimulating conversations I've had maybe in my life.
I heard other people talking about that.
Yeah, they probably said, some good things. Hopefully, it was needed. It was great, and we're going to miss that this year. But guess what? We're going to be back next year.
All right, and I'm going to make an announcement here. So give me 1 second. Everyone out there might like this, or they might not. I don't know. We'll see. But there you go. Here it comes. Actually, that didn't work out too well. I forgot to bring down the overlay. There you go. There's me. I am speaking this year. So there you go. I've never given a speech in my life until this year, and I've given I don't know, this year it's 7.
Wow. Well, I hope to be at that level someday when I grow up.
Well, I went from 0 to 7 in the Corona age, so
yeah, I was really the speech that I'm doing. I believe it would have been infinitely better in front of a crowd. I've got some moments in there that it's going to be tough to project to the camera the emotion, and then you're not going to get that feedback. Like last year, you'd hear people, the crowd would roar, and I feel like if you're the president or you're a gladiator in combat, you speech, it's a performance, right? It's going to be tough to do it, just to a camera. I'm used to film myself on camera for YouTube and everything, but to try to come at it with emotion and deliver like that, it's challenging. It's just different.
Yeah, it's going to be different. We'll see how it turns out. I know there's a lot of people poo-pooing it because it's virtual, but you still get a lot out of it.
Yeah,
we will see.
People are Eric and I were talking this weekend. I was like, look, dude, YouTube is crazy. I was like, it's they talk about the pen being mightier than the sword, and the pen is very important still. But YouTube is taking a Gatling machine gun to a freaking sword fight. So these thoughts and these ideas are going to live on, probably forever, because Elon Musk will have some satellite projecting them into space for us someday.
Yeah, he probably will. Elon Musk is my favorite guy, one of my favorite guys.
Yeah, I wish I could get half the shit done he does.
Well, I was reading about him, and he sleeps very little, and he doesn't have a girlfriend. He used to be married, but he doesn't have a girlfriend right now because he allocates 6 hours a week for relationships.
I used to be like that. I was on active duty in the Air Force Reserve for a while, and I was a trainer full time, and I was in college full time, all at the same time. And I literally had 4 hours on Sunday that I wasn't doing something, and I would sleep 5 hours a night. I did that for 4 years, and I'm convinced that I probably lost a year or two of my life because of it. Some people can do that. I ain't doing that no more. I got kids. Yeah. I have 5 kids. It's especially the babies. They need your time. The teenagers don't give a crap about you. They're off chasing girls and working and doing stuff that I did when I was a teenager. But the little ones, they need you.
Yeah, I got a 3 and a 7-year-old. Well, he was talking about he decided he wanted to go to Mars. This is when he was 12 years old. So he's in South Africa. So he's like, well, I need to do something. So let me go ahead and invent the video game. This is going to give me some money to get me to Canada because I can't go directly to the U.S. because it's too hard. But if I go to Canada on a student's visa, I can transfer to a U.S. So he worked it all out. And then I got to start a company to do finance. And then I'm going to do a thing and,
Yeah, my kids are all doing this. welcome to the channel. Welcome to the channel. They're like, it's weird when you're on YouTube and your kids see you do it, and then you see them do it. You're like, wait a minute.
Yeah, but he took it and broke it all down too. These are the steps I need to take. I like 12 years old. He's like, and at this age, I'm gonna do this, then this, then I gotta create this, then I gotta create this, all because he wants to get to Mars.
Hey, I mean, more power to him.
But I think he's autistic because of that. Because nobody with a regular brain will do that.
Yeah, I have a son that is my nephew who we adopted, and he's on the spectrum.
Yeah,
and he can get down some rabbit holes like that for sure.
Yeah, I
but
mean,
he also can like fix some things that you didn't think could be fixed. Like they
Yeah.
have this weird way of doing that, and it's like, you know, people for a long time, I don't think know what to do with them, but now people are realizing they're really good at like computer coding and
they're a lot of people with autism are extremely smart.
Yeah, he's wicked smart. We got him. He was 2 years behind in school. We got him the right medicine and him on the right diet and in a better school, and he was caught up in 2 months. Like he did 2 years of school. Like they were like, he's good, you know. But that also is, you know, not good because they use that smarts against you sometimes.
Yeah. All right, Captain Tim. Well, it looks like our hour is up. It looks like you had a beautiful day out there on the water.
Yeah, doesn't suck, man. It's nice, beautiful. It's about 80 degrees, 78 degrees.
I put your link in the description, but go ahead and tell people how to find you.
At Captain Sergeant Peterson on Instagram, Captain Peterson more than just fishing on YouTube. I'm mostly known for my fishing catamaran videos, a little bit of gun videos and stuff. I do a lot of disabled veterans fishing trips with Reunite to Fight, Hero Hunt Inc. We got a bunch coming up with Iraq Veteran 8888, Sailor Jerry. Keep looking, man. We got a lot of good content coming out. We're about to shoot some sharks in the face. That's going to get PETA going.
Yeah, do it, man. Do it. Oh, I love pissing off PETA. My favorite thing to do. All right, guys. Thank you so much. You can always find me at crumpy.com. That's all my links and right there. And you can find whatever you need from there. So I'm not going to throw out too much.
Thanks again for having me, John.
Well, thank you. And I will see you guys later. And bye, G-Webs.